I never imagined I'd be saying this so early in the 2025 season, just 19 games in, but it's clear the IndianaFever must part ways with Stephanie White. This experiment simply isn't working. The results speak volumes. The team's performance under her leadership is dismal, and the coaching style she's clinging to is dragging everyone down. White seems unwilling or unable to adapt, insisting on a system that turns their star player, CaitlinClark, from the league's best point guard into a mere role player. Fans have reached a boiling point, demanding her resignation following an embarrassing blowout loss that has shattered any remaining patience. Even the most loyal Clark supporters are starting to question the decisions made on the sidelines. The coaching has deteriorated into what can only be described as malpractice. White's baffling choice to start Aria McDonald, a player who wasn't even on a WNBA roster 4 weeks ago, at point guard, while pushing Clark to the wing, defies all logic. Clark's touches on the ball dwindled to near zero as the offense sputtered and died, producing a mere 61 points at home, a total more befitting of a high school team than a professional one. White justified her strategy by saying she wanted multiple ball handlers on the court simultaneously, but the execution was a disaster. The team appeared confused, disorganized, and disconnected, a direct reflection of coaching decisions that lacked foresight and preparation. White's timeout management only worsened matters. Each time Clark began to find her rhythm, she was benched, as if the coach was actively sabotaging the team's chance to win. Defensive schemes were no better, allowing the opposing Golden State Valkyries to trap Clark repeatedly without any adjustments or support from screens and ball movement. The lineup decisions further weakened the Fever's defense by benching their best perimeter defender, Lexi Hall, to accommodate experiments that backfired spectacularly. It was a perfect storm of poor coaching choices and mismanagement that culminated in a humiliating defeat, and the fan base responded with fury on social media and local talk shows, threatening to boycott tickets if the current trend continues. Adding insult to injury, White publicly blamed her players for lacking competitive fire and attention to detail, conveniently ignoring that she herself had changed the entire offensive system just 2 days before the game, leaving the team unprepared and confused. The statistical evidence paints an even clearer picture. When Clark plays point guard, the Fever average over 88 points per game. Without her on the court, they score about 80. But when Clark is forced out of position, as she was against Golden State, the team scores just 61 points. This stark drop-off is not a coincidence, but a direct consequence of White's ineffective coaching decisions. The season has been a roller coaster, with flashes of brilliance when the Fever were properly coached, such as impressive wins over the Liberty and Lynx during the Commissioner's Cup. Yet, the inconsistency and confusion under White's leadership make one question her qualifications for coaching at the highest level. It's especially alarming that Clark was just returning from injury, a moment when a coach should ease their star player back into their natural role, not strip them of their position and confidence. The team chemistry appears fractured, with players visibly frustrated on the court and unsure of their roles. The off-court atmosphere is equally toxic, with season ticket holders threatening cancellations, merchandise sales dropping, and an overall sense of despair permeating the organization. White's post-game comments only added fuel to the fire as she deflected responsibility and criticized the players instead of owning up to the flawed game plan. Reporters who initially supported her are now openly questioning her approach and whether she's equipped to lead this team. The pressure from ownership must be immense, as the Fever have invested heavily in Clark, expecting her talent to translate into wins and a strong fan following. Instead, the coach's decisions are undermining that investment and risking long-term damage to the franchise's reputation and finances. The assistant coaches and player development staff are likely frustrated too, caught between supporting White's questionable tactics and trying to nurture player growth. The league office is probably monitoring the situation closely since Clark is a prominent face of the WNBA, and her misuse reflects poorly on the entire league. Financial consequences loom as season ticket renewals approach and merchandise sales fall. Fans are questioning whether it's worth their time and money to watch a team that misuses its star talent. Television ratings could also suffer if the Fever continue down this path. The organizational culture is strained, with uncertainty and doubt spreading throughout players, staff, and management. Comparing the Fever to successful franchises highlights the problem. Teams like Las Vegas and Seattle have coaches who build systems around their stars. The Fever have a coach seemingly intent on minimizing their best players' impact, wasting precious prime years. Every misused game is a missed opportunity to build chemistry, develop systems, and generate momentum toward playoff success. The fan trust that took years to cultivate is being eroded rapidly by these poor decisions. Stephanie White is fighting for her job amid mounting criticism, but the odds aren't looking good. This isn't just disappointment, it's a full-blown revolt from the fan base and media alike. The question is, should she resign or be fired? Meanwhile, professional athletes like Clark and her teammates should be able to adjust to different game times and opponents. Yet their disorganized and unprepared performance points to coaching failures rather than scheduling. White's claim that reducing pressure on Clark by taking the ball out of her hands was meant to help is an insult to fans and players alike. Clark thrives under pressure. Sidelining her reduces her influence and weakens the whole team. Player development has also stagnated under White's watch. Beyond Clark, who came in already elite, other players such as Aaliyah Boston seem to have regressed. Kelsey Mitchell's inconsistency persists, and role players show no signs of improvement. This signals systemic coaching deficiencies. Moreover, there's a philosophical disconnect between White's approach and what would realistically drive team success. This tension poisons the culture, evident in the team's lackluster performance. The locker room atmosphere is likely tense, with players confused and resentful as they watch their roles shift unpredictably. White's previous coaching record doesn't inspire confidence either. Her earlier tenure with the Fever was mediocre, and her time away from the league didn't prove readiness for this responsibility. The national media is increasingly scrutinizing White, turning the Fever's woes into a widely discussed issue and increasing pressure on the organization to make a change. Financial considerations complicate matters, since White's multi-year contract means firing her carries costs. But sometimes the expense of retaining a failing coach outweighs that. Assistant coaches and development staff face difficult choices: speak out and risk their jobs, or remain silent and watch the team flounder. The front office is likely fielding pressure from ownership, sponsors, and the league itself, all concerned about the negative impact on the product and the brand. Mid-season coaching changes aren't unheard of, and if the Fever's performance continues to slide, it may become inevitable. The pool of available coaches isn't ideal, which may delay action, but the organization cannot afford to wait indefinitely. Fans' patience has run out, not casual complainers, but emotionally and financially invested supporters who see their trust betrayed. White insists on running a motion offense that doesn't fit this roster, especially not Clark's skill set, which thrives when she controls pace and creates opportunities, not when forced to hunt for open shots via screens. The pre-game preparation appeared lacking. The Valkyries implemented a game plan specifically designed to pressure Clark, and White's team was caught flat-footed without adequate counters. No meaningful in-game adjustments came, as White stubbornly clung to a failing strategy despite mounting evidence it was ineffective. The fourth quarter was especially embarrassing, as White repeated the same ineffective plays despite being down significantly, showing no urgency or creativity. The post-game press conference only deepened concerns. White avoided accountability and instead blamed players for failing to execute her plan, a sign of weak leadership. Social media erupted with harsh criticism, including statistical comparisons that exposed Clark's diminished impact when forced off point guard. Local media, typically protective of coaches, have also turned critical, openly questioning White's competence. The general manager and athletic director are likely inundated with calls from sponsors and boosters frustrated that the team star isn't being utilized properly. Player agents are undoubtedly watching, concerned about the message this sends to their clients about the organization's ability to develop talent. The WNBA league office, which benefits from having stars like Clark flourish, is probably monitoring the situation with concern. The upcoming season ticket renewal period and declining merchandise sales underscore the financial risks if current trends continue. The Fever's organizational culture risks collapse, as doubt permeates every level of the franchise. Successful teams understand how to adapt systems around stars. The Fever do the opposite, forcing their best player into ill-fitting roles and wasting a generational talent's prime. Every misstep costs the team momentum and fan trust. Stephanie White's future as head coach looks bleak as fan backlash intensifies and poor results mount. The question remains whether she will resign voluntarily or be let go. For fans and observers alike, this is a cautionary tale about how quickly things can unravel when coaching decisions clash with talent and expectations. If you want the latest insights and drama from the world of women's basketball, stay tuned to Hollywood Buzzing.